It's not just the GST that we're debating tonight, it's also the other big story that continues to cause outrage in the national capital region. The Delhi government's plan to reintroduce the odd-even rule in the city has been thrown out of gear by the National Green Tribunal. Questioning the Delhi government's move, the tribunal has said the government should not give a shock treatment to the residents of the capital. The NGT has also pulled up the government for its inaction on the pollution control front over the last 12 months, and it is ordered to refrain from implementing the odd-even rule until the tribunals go ahead. Well, joining me on the show are Shailaja Chandra, former Health Secretary, also with us Balendu Shekhar, lawyer for the East Delhi Municipal Corporation, Polash Mukherjee of the Centre for Science and Environment, and Akshay Marathe of the Aam Aadmi Party. Akshay, if I could come to you, and I don't know whether this is literal when the NGT makes this observation asking that 99 measures you haven't implemented, but one measure, and he's talking about the odd-even scheme, you want to go ahead and implement. Explain to us why you haven't prepared or acted on the 99 measures that you were meant to over the past year.
I would not like to comment on the NGT's observations. It's a sub judice matter. Tomorrow, the Delhi government's legal team will be replying to the NGT with adequate responses. I think the NGT was exaggerating on the 99 steps that they claim that the Delhi government has not taken.
Can you tell me, Akshay, how many steps have you taken? And I'm not asking you about the steps that the Delhi government in association with the LG has announced over the last 72 hours. I'm asking you, since last winter, when we were faced with the exact same crisis, can you today, for the benefit of the country, give us a sense of everything that you have done?
Of course. Since last year, there is the thermal power plant in Rajghat has been shut down because that was a major contributor of pollution. We have also been very stringent with PUC norms. Every 3 months, vehicles in Delhi are required to register with the PUC check. And apart from that, we have also spent a lot of effort on greening Delhi. In fact, all of our greening agencies for the last year have planted over 11 lakh plants across Delhi in association with BNHS, so that the right kind of trees are also planted. I would also like to point out at this point that if you look at the NASA's aerosol depth map, the crisis that Delhi is facing cannot possibly be a product of Delhi alone. I would like to also point out that this crisis is being faced right from Lahore, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just saying that this is a kind of a sub-national problem.
No, I understand that.
We have a real crisis at hand.
Yes, we do. We have a real crisis at hand. And let me take that point forward. To act together, Shailaja Chandra, that is the need of the hour. You know, as a former bureaucrat, ma'am, you know, the problem seems to be that this has now become a Delhi issue, whereas it is not just a Delhi issue. It involves the governments of Punjab, it involves the governments of Haryana, it involves the central government. Do we not need a coordinated action plan to address this, ma'am?
Absolutely, and this coordination should have started not now, but at least 6-8 months ago. We know there are technical and economically viable also solutions possible for burning. We know that Delhi government should have ordered at least 10,000 buses by now, which they had promised to do. That is the only, without giving public transport, how do you tell people to just get off the road? The amount of dust and rubble that is allowed to accumulate, they should have asked for the fines to be increased under the Municipal Corporation Act. I don't think central government would have said no. But central government should have taken coordinated action months ago by calling the chief secretaries of these states.
Has the central government failed? Ms. Chandra, I'm going to ask you a straightforward question. Has the central government failed in addressing this crisis that we are facing in the National Capital Region?
Look, I would say I would have done it differently. I really can't talk for an entire government, but there are ways in which these things are managed. Coordination is totally a central government responsibility, but more than the ministry, I think the Central Pollution Control Board, if you saw the powers that it actually has, it enjoys enormous powers. Why were these not being used all these months? Who is this chairman of the Central Pollution Control Board? Who is the state State Pollution Control Board chairman. What are they doing? Why are their faces and their voices not on television? Why is it that, we people have to sit and talk for the citizens of Delhi? They ought to be. In other countries, the mayor is sacked if the pollution levels, go below, go above a certain limit. In this place, nobody seems bothered. In fact, a lot of people are just talking.
There is an apathy.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. There is an apathy.
No, Shireen, I just want to complete one thing that, today there was a newspaper article. It may be right, it may be wrong, but we should know, why is it not possible to have these machines which are able to do both? Allow the window period to be used quickly, to allow seeds to be there, and the hay that comes on top to remain. Now, this has all been argued in a scientific way. And there would be so many more solutions possible. None of them are being discussed. None of them are being...
Ms. Chandra, I want to come to you. And Akshay, I know you want to come in. I'll come to you in just a second, Akshay. I want Ms. Chandra to put on the table, ma'am, the solution now when it comes to stubble burning. We've all talked about the need for coordinated action. Now, even the NGT today is saying provide farmers with incentives. We don't have a number. We don't have a figure of what kind of incentives should be provided. Who provides these incentives? Will it be the center? Will it be the 3 state governments together? I mean, what is the plan?
I would say that it is possible from the helicopter, and I was in a helicopter and I saw the burning fields and the smoke. It is possible to do 3 things. Number 1, bring out a policy that the richer landowning farmers will have to invest in this equipment. It has been described in Indian Express. I don't want to try and describe it. It is there absolutely in black and white. That should be done for the richer land-owning people, and if necessary, cooperatives should be facilitated. For the poorer people, the government ought to, the 2 governments ought to be, giving these out on rent at subsidized rates. That would take care, and there are technologies whereby you can use this window period. It should have been planned. It can't be done by somebody clicking their fingers today. If this were done, I'm absolutely certain. And this was not done. That's one. Now, after this is done and the policy is announced and people don't do it, you have to arrest a few people, put a few people behind bars. You need only 5 people in a district to be put behind bars. They will come to their senses in no time. You can't make all farmers also into some sort of a, you might say, gilded commodity
villain
because they're farmers.
No,
you're also has the right to live.
Yeah, I get the point that you're making. Akshay, very quickly, before I bring Palash and Balindu Shekhar into the conversation.
It's important to understand and actually point out where the problem lies. And in fact, the Delhi government had tried to reach out to the Punjab government a few months ago. In August, the Environment Minister in Delhi, Imran Hussain, had written letters to the 4 states, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh about this issue. We tried to build a dialogue over the last few months. But Punjab has its own problems. Captain Amrinder Singh has been saying that they do not have enough funds. But then it was incumbent upon Captain Amrinder Singh to reach out to the centre in time. It's too late now. This should have been done a few months ago. And if he was not able to do it then he should have raised an outcry, at least on behalf of citizens of Punjab, if not of Delhi.
You should have raised an outcry as well. Akshay Marathe, Arvind Kejriwal is tweeting today saying that Captain Amrinder Singh, give me time. You ought to have been tweeting saying nobody is responding to the request that we put forward on how do we address the pollution problem. This should have happened from August, Akshay. But let me bring Palash into this conversation. Palash, I want from you specific ideas now. In the immediate term, what can be done? And in the medium term now, where do we go?
See, in the immediate term, there are a number of implementation-related things that can be done. For instance, if you talk about the Delhi government, road dust is a big problem. We know that there are rules out there for enforcing that violations against road dust are taken care of, they are penalized. But this is not happening. When we come to construction activities, there are a set of rules which need only be enforced, but there isn't a mechanism that ensures the enforcement of these rules at the lowest levels. Coming back to the central government stance, and also because today was a very big opportunity, we've been, by we me, I mean EPCA, has been highlighting this for a couple of months now. There is a highly polluting fuel called petroleum coke. Petroleum coke has 75,000 parts per million of sulfur compared to petrol, which has 50. Now, petroleum coke is charged as at 18% of GST, which by the way is refundable, as compared to the cleaner alternative, which is natural gas, which is charged at 26% and it is not under the GST regime. So today was a big opportunity for the central government to address that and bring natural gas under the GST regime, so that it could be refunded.
If only we had made some noise about this. If only we had made some noise about this before the GST Council meeting concluded today. I wish we had known. We would have made some noise about this. Okay, go ahead. You did. Okay.
All right. We did point this out to the government way back in April when GST was being considered, but there you go. Again, coming back to long-term plans, the EPCA is considering something called the Comprehensive Action Plan, which is being fought out in the Supreme Court right now. There's a hearing coming up on 17th of October. And the central government on affidavit in the highest court of the land has said that there is no evidence to prove the correlation between air pollution and health. This is the central government of India that has this to say in the Supreme Courts.
The central government, one second. The central government of India to the Supreme Court, let me emphasize that, Palash, you're saying has suggested that there is no evidence of connection between air pollution and health.
Yes, yes, it is true.
Shailija Chandra, how do you respond to this?
I am absolutely shocked. I can't believe that this could have happened. I simply can't believe it, because the evidence on pulmonary diseases, on respiratory diseases, as well as the effect on blood and kidney has been just, I mean, it is so, you don't have to have research to tell you this, but if you want research, I mean, this is ridiculous. It is like the denial of HIV/AIDS when a central government minister went to Paris and said, we don't have any AIDS in our country. It's as absurd as saying that. It is
as absurd as that.
Really,
as absurd as that.
It's so unfair that such statements can even be made.
Unfortunately,
it is indeed shocking.
No communication.
There doesn't seem to be. There seems to be a complete communication breakdown. Yeah, absolutely.
Because the health government is saying something on one hand and the... all right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Balendu, let me get your point of view on the back of where things currently stand now from a judicial point of view.
See, first and foremost, I must say this very fact that about crop burning, about which we all are discussing, and at this stage we all are saying that it's all primarily because of that thing, such pollution level is there. On 4th November 2015, the Honorable NGT had passed a very detailed order indicating that first and foremost, state government should bring a kind of policy whereby farmers should be encouraged to give their residue to the government, so that they not be compelled to burn their crop in their own field. Because the difficulty for the farmer is that they have to go for the another crop. And for that matter, they need a very
Balendu, you're saying that this was the NGT's order. If this was the NGT's order on the 4th of November of 2015, we are sitting in November 10th of 2017, and if no solution has been found, then why hasn't the NGT taken any action?
NGT time and again passed various direction, and every time, every state, because see, right now we are discussing about the pollution of Delhi, but we must keep that thing in mind that Delhi on its own cannot resolve this pollution crisis in every possible manner. So a major contributor is certainly is coming from the outside Delhi. And about this aspect, NGT had passed this very order, and subsequently various order also came, and every time, every other state were having n number of reasons for not implementing that very order. And that is why even the Honorable Supreme Court in Arjun Gopal case versus Union of India on 12th September 2017 had elaborately dealt about this crop burning issue. And in that judgment also, Honorable Supreme Court had clearly indicated why Punjab government is not doing it, because this may create a massive complication. And again, right now we are discussing about the situation which availed on 7th and 8th November. And Honorable Supreme Court had passed their order on 12th September.
No, you're absolutely right. At many, many levels, as our panel is pointing out, at the state level, at the central level, at the level of the bodies that are monitoring pollution in the state and the country, there has been a complete breakdown. We must hang our heads in shame for the kind of public health emergency we are putting people in the National Capital Region through. And there seem to be no solutions. There seem to be no active consideration, no sense of urgency to try and deal with what is a public health emergency. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Palash Mukherjee, Balendu Shekhar, Akshay Marathe, Shailaja Chandra, thanks very much for joining us here on India Business Hour. There's a